Hi guys, my name's Seb Shooter. I'm the man on the Silver Mountain, and welcome back. Now today I'm going to continue doing the kind of review of me from the last 30 years that I kind of do every year, but this time I wanted to let you guys in on it. And today I wanted to think more about my career and my occupation, the things that have kind of taken up most of my life since leaving school. The job that I do, the things that I'm trying to work with, and kind of where I was and where I want to go and where I am at the moment. And this is probably one of the areas where there is the most significant area of improvement, um, or various areas of improvement that I need to work on all of them and not stop. It's me being self-employed at the moment, me trying to grow my business, doing this stuff with you guys on YouTube, trying to do other stuff, juggling opportunities, and trying to chase down people and things to take advantage of in terms of either opportunities for me to go and coach them or opportunities in terms of them helping me expand and find more people. It's one of those things where it's it's difficult. Like I've been since what 2013 was when I set up my company Silver Mountain Coaching, and since then I've bounced around between a couple of longer contracts doing bits and pieces. I've had smaller personal clients which have been great, but it's always been this kind of chasing the next thing and having to do an awful lot of work now to try and develop more of a presence to find the next thing that's going to be better. And it's been tough. Like it's tougher than I initially thought it would be, because some of the support that felt I was going to get, that I thought I was going to get early on from various places that I was qualifying with and so on and so forth, wasn't as forthcoming, if it materialized at all. So that made things a little more difficult, because I had planned to have more access to things that then just didn't materialize, to one degree or another anyway. And so, going from an environment where before, my first few jobs were all for big corporates where I would stay for several years before moving on. I ended up being at my very first job that I took on the management role and stuff after I'd finished education, after I'd finished doing other bits and pieces in between, another couple of qualifications and things. I ended up in a management position for a very large corporate chain in the UK, in the entertainment industry side of things, effectively. And it was like I stayed there for what, 3.5 years ish, about 3 years, and like I learned a lot. First management position, very very large team, 120 something people. Being a junior manager under senior managers who were under a general manager, the general manager only being a handful of years older than me anyway. It was a very interesting situation to be in, and I was there doing long days, and I was one of the only full-timers on the team, so I was there all the time. And I learned so much, even though it was only 3 years. There was so much stuff going on, and because I was there all the time, I learned so much from that, often in spite of the other management who didn't want to teach me things, didn't want to help me progress or grow, because they were intimidated by how quickly I would potentially at times go and progress. And it was tough, especially with certain members of the management team who were, quite frankly, not fit to be in those roles. But then at the same time, I met some of the best managers I've ever had in my life, the best leaders, the best people for those kind of jobs that I've ever met were also in that place. But then moving on, I did some smaller things and I did some other bits and pieces. But eventually, I settled on a chain with a lot larger reach. It was another big corporate with a much larger reach, but a much smaller set of individual teams. So the team was now only about 20 odd people, 20 to 30 people, and I was a step or so down from the person running the store, the store manager. And then through moving on through that, I gained qualifications, I gained experience. I was there for 5 years and I was doing a hell of a lot more stuff. And that was where coaching became a bigger thing for me, and I got some opportunities to go and actually qualify, not through the company, but off my own Todd. And so I went and did that. And that was the point after what I had been in work for probably about 10 years at that point. Yeah, or just under 10 years at that point. And it was at that junction that all the coaching and mentoring and everything else that I had been doing was just kind of exactly what I wanted to do. And after qualifying, after doing the courses and doing other bits and pieces, gaining more information, and moving into coaching, it was a much more substantial and solid thing that I wanted to do. I from a young age I wanted to kind of help people, I guess. I wanted to use what I had to help others solve their problems. I've never been particularly materialistic, so it was one of those things that I wanted to just get into. But at the time of being very young and wanting to help people, yeah, that's all very well and good, but you need to help yourself first, because otherwise you're not going to survive, and if you don't survive, you're not going to be able to help anyone. It was that kind of juggling act that I needed to get my head around whilst I was working for big corporates, because it was a case of my team meant the most to me, because without my team I wouldn't get any work done, which meant that my boss wouldn't get any work done, which meant that the company would suffer, and it was the way it worked. And it became a case of leadership being sacrifice, and this is something that should be acknowledged at large, but often isn't, because there's much more of a focus on managing rather than leading. But I loved working with teams of people. I loved achieving goals. I loved getting a result, and it was tough sometimes with some of the people I had to work with. But again, I was willing to sacrifice the time, sacrifice the potential well-being of myself to go and make those things happen. But now I don't. Now I'm in a place where I actually feel I can do more to help people, either individually or as a group, from being that person that comes in and helps plan and find solutions and bring the knowledge, expertise and experience that I have at my disposal to bear on their behalf. Basically by, as I've said in numerous other videos, providing a reflection for them to analyse, providing asking the questions that no one else is willing to ask. Having that outside set of eyes to come and look and examine and work things over. The effects that I've seen on people's lives, on companies, on all those things, just a result of me coming in and doing those things, have been so much huger than I could possibly have imagined. And yet, now it's difficult, because it's gone on from being just me bouncing around between a few friends, a few contracts, and little things here and there where I've wanted to grow. I wanted to help more people, and that's why I'm here on YouTube. I wanted to bring the information that I have access to, the experience and things that I have access to, and bring it to you guys, be it in one way or another. But I'll go into more about that when I want to talk about YouTube by itself later this week. But in terms of then the stuff that you guys don't see, sending loads of emails, me making a whole load of phone calls, taking advantage of various opportunities that are put in front of me. It's a collection of things that are so much more difficult than anyone really suggests. You know, if you the number of people that I've talked to or that I've interacted with who are small business people who have basically given up, not because they're bad at what they do, not because they don't know their subject, not because they couldn't do wonders for clients, but just because those clients aren't forthcoming. Nowadays, even with the internet and everything else, it can be incredibly hard to find clients and new opportunities. There's a friend of mine who is a relative expert in his field, and who has spent 5 years trying to do his own thing the same way that I have done mine, and he's had no progress. He's basically been living on a shoestring and occasional work, kind of temp work that he's been able to get. But even there, it's difficult for him because he's such an expert that temp agencies and other people like that aren't necessarily willing to take him on because he's too well qualified. And so, you know, it's been difficult for him. But then I saw him post on Facebook the other day about how one experience has now potentially opened such a wide number of doors for him to potentially walk through. You know, and I feel like there are elements of my experience that have been the same, where it's been one opportunity that has sounded amazing, been something that I've kind of thrown myself into, immersed myself with, communicated with the person who's offered me that opportunity, you know, to try and make it the most of it for both of us. And yet then, because that person is lazy, or because that person hasn't paid attention, because they just aren't as well equipped to do their job, or whatever, it's become kind of taxing, you know, trying to chase those people up, make those relationships work. And, you know, in some cases money's been invested as well in those things, and so it's not something that I can necessarily walk away from. It's something I need to keep working with, but it is draining, horribly draining. And so it's a case of coming and trying to rework, re-examine, find the ways that I haven't tried already, to test them out. And it's one of those things that I kind of want to try doing more with you guys as well, to make more headway on a more secure living for myself, as it were. But again, I don't want to do that for you guys until I've got good opportunities and more substantive things that I can offer to you. And potentially, I'll look into talking to you guys more about that as time goes on. But for the time being, it's tough. So to kind of round things off, where do I want to go? Where I'd want to go, where I'd love to go, would be to offer you guys a wide variety of different things online, through YouTube, through other things outside of YouTube, for the stuff that you're interested in. But then on top of that, there are some kind of fun projects that I want to work on. There are some projects that I've had kind of sat around for ages that I want to work on for YouTube and stuff as well. But then also, in terms of me, business-wise, the stuff that I want to do more of is coach. Like, I'm spending a lot of time at the moment doing a lot of chasing of people who are not necessarily being the most cooperative, and not necessarily clients, but people who are supposed to be getting me clients. You know, and it's tiring. What I'd love to do is go into companies, go into to be engaged as a personal coach, and sit down and do more of the coaching now. But it's something where you have to work hard to begin with, and then you can work easy afterwards. And right now I'm still in that phase where it's recent expansion, recent stuff going on, lots of things that you need to work on, and as a result of that, I'm still having to do the hard work at the moment before I can then, you know, ease off and do more of what I set out to do, what I wanted to do in the first place, that put me on this journey later on. So what are the things that I'm going to have to do? Well, firstly, I'm going to have to keep pushing myself I'm going to have to keep kind of following up and chasing up on the people that have maybe not been the most cooperative, or the people who are being slackers in regards to the service they're supposed to be offering. But then on top of that, I need to keep looking out for new opportunities. I need to keep looking out for new things. Need to keep talking to people. Need to keep talking to you guys, and I need to be consistent. I have a certain number of avenues that I can walk down, and I need to find out which one is most appropriate. And at some point, I'm sure I'll be asking you guys for help in clarifying that for me, at least in regards to YouTube and the stuff that I'm doing online. So, it's all an interesting kind of bundle of chaos that I'm having to deal with, and yet it's the most fulfilling bundle of chaos I've ever been a part of. And yeah, sometimes it can get lonely and isolating. Sometimes it's very hard and completely demoralizing when you have had an opportunity and you take grasp of it with both hands, and then due to stuff that's completely beyond your control, stuff collapses or someone doesn't do their job or something like that. That is at times really infuriating and tough to just walk away from. But it happens, and so if investing in those things, if spending time on those things was a mistake, then that's a mistake that can be learned from later on. So, lots of things for me to keep pushing with, but where I'm hoping is that I can find my way forward. I can expand. I can do the things I want to do. Open myself up to traveling more and seeing more of you guys, going to things like conventions and things where it would be a prime opportunity to come and actually talk to you guys in person, to one degree or another. Actually doing things like seminars and workshops are something that I would love to be able to do more of. But then also just going in and helping people. That's my main goal, my main focus in all of this. But obviously to do that, I can't be destitute. I need to have my own survival as my first priority, and my own kind of wants and things that I want to develop as my next priority after that. So, it's trying to keep things in perspective and working hard on it, which includes keeping these videos up for you guys. But anyway, in regards to work and self-employment and stuff like that, suggestions and things or things that you guys have done that have succeeded, or that you've had difficulties with, had kind of fall out from under you. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. Maybe we can learn from each other. Who knows? But otherwise, guys, it's one of these things that I'm having to work at, and it's the most difficult thing to work at, with the most growth still required for it to really make a difference to me and the people that I would love to work with, even the people that I am working with at the moment. But anyway, guys, I'd love to hear your thoughts and your experiences and stuff like that down in the comments. But otherwise, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the video tomorrow. Take care. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video or found it interesting, please drop us a like, share this video, and subscribe for more. And I'll see you in the video tomorrow. Take care.